What's up, y'all? This NBA season, don't let an injury rule out your bet. Other sportsbooks let injuries box you out, but FANATICS Sportsbook Fair Play protects all bets from first half injury. So if your player goes down with an injury, FANATICS keeps your bet out on the court. Make the switch and get more ways to win with FANATICS Sportsbook. Winning hits different here.
All right, welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by FANATICS Sportsbook. Tough one tonight as the Knicks start off their 4-game West Coast road trip with a loss in Phoenix, 112-107. A little bit of insult to injury there at the end with those OG free throws, but obviously a lot more to talk about tonight. I'm just going to say at the top, this is not a game that I am going to go crazy over. I think I used up all of my crazy pills after the Detroit loss. But more generally, I actually, if I'm being honest, my main takeaway from this game is going to be a positive one, and that's the defense that they played in the fourth quarter, and specifically how they defended in the fourth quarter, which is not really a way that we've seen them defend much this season. But it would be disingenuous to start off this post game talking about positives because there were a lot of negatives tonight. And if you're looking for reasons why the Knicks lost this game, first and foremost, give credit to the Pheonix Suns, who very much emulate, I would say, the We Here Knicks. You know, we've been joking on NBA Takedown about, you know, who are the We Here, who's like this year's version of the We Here Knicks, and there's some different teams that we've pointed out, but I think the Suns are the right answer because they just play harder than their opponent on every night. I saw Fred Katz just tweeted out about that, and he's right. They play harder than you. They get under your skin. They're really good at what they do, and they're a much better team than I think people have given them credit for. I mean, after this win, you're going to look at their record. The record's not all that different from the Knicks. So, and that's, you know, at a certain point in the season, you get to that and it's no longer a mirage. This is a very real thing. So credit to them. And I want to start off by giving credit to them because I think they were largely responsible for the reason why the Knicks lost this game, which was, and my producer, Mark, tweeted it out. I saw it before. It's just mental errors. You know, the Knicks had 18 turnovers in this game. They have been all season long a very good team when it comes to not turning the ball over. I'm actually looking up right now where exactly they rank because in the beginning of the season they were like exceptional in that, and then I think maybe they fluctuated a little bit. Right now on offense, they are never mind. They're the fourth best team when it comes to not turning the ball over, according to Cleaning the Glass. So it's not like this is a problem of theirs. But tonight they turned it over 18 times, and the Suns scored 22 points off those turnovers. Suns only turned it over 10 times, and the Knicks scored 11 points off those turnovers. So that's an 11-point difference right there, which is how you get a Phoenix team attempting 3 more field goals on a night when the Knicks got 16 offensive rebounds to Phoenix's 9. It was only because of those turnovers and only because of those mental errors. And look, you want to say that Phoenix's physicality and like all the bullshit that Dylan Brooks does and the bullshit that what's his face, Ted Cruz, Grayson Allen does, that it got to the Knicks. Yeah, probably did. It probably did. But you know, if I'm going to draw a bigger picture negative from this game, and it's not even really a negative. It's a negative in the moment, but I think you could spin it into a positive long term. Is I think this Knicks offense, which was, you know, just automatic for much of this year, I think they're kind of in this weird place where they're trying to find their way a little bit. And, I thought Benji and DJ did a phenomenal episode of X's and O's last night in which they got into a lot of the ways in which, okay, Brunson needs to become a little bit more of a distributor. How is he getting Cat involved? And there's been a lot of talk about, obviously, the Cat and Brunson partnership, and whether that is actually a good one, and certainly where it should be after almost a year and a half. And just like the larger ecosystem right now. And I think that that's all very fair. I think they are trying. It's almost like they're trying to rediscover themselves a little bit. And it's strange to see because, again, they've been in such a groove for so much of the year. But, like, for instance, first half, Karl Anthony Towns, 4 shots. I think he had 3 points at the half, whatever it was. I think he had a 1 made basket. So what do the Knicks do at the start of the third quarter? They make an effort to get Karl Anthony Towns involved in the offense, And, like, that wasn't a thing that we were saying for the better part of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it was, where their offense was really humming. Like, oh, they're making an effort to get this guy involved or that guy involved. Or, Jalen Brunson is making an effort not to shoot too many times. Like, Jalen Brunson had a great passing game, I thought, against the Clippers. Of course, the Clippers have one of the worst defenses in the league, even as they've been playing well. Suns have one of the best defenses in the league. So you could see Jalen Brunson almost in real time processing, what am I supposed to do here? And I'm not giving him a pass for the plays that he made late in this game. There was I'm sure a lot of Knicks fans, where I thought we had the game was after OG hit the 2 free throws and then Deuce got the steal right after the Suns offensive rebound. And then Jalen Brunson had that great look, a floater that he had been hitting all night, and he just missed it. And then that led to 2 very uncharacteristic plays. Now, the first one, the Jalen Brunson fumbling the ball out of bounds. Again, not giving him a pass, but like Deuce was trying to do something with the ball there, and Brunson didn't get the ball until 7 seconds left in the clock. It was at that point you could tell that the offense was out of sorts, that the Suns, whatever they had done or whatever the Knicks were going through, combined together. It had impacted the Knicks because, again, you want the ball in Brunson's hands there. It was just a little strange to see the ball in Deuce's hands there. Deuce had a great game, don't get me wrong, but Brunson didn't get it laid. And then, as you're fully expecting Brunson to rise and fire from 3, he rises and then tries to dump it off. I don't know that I've ever seen that. It's not that Brunson hasn't passed it late in games. He has, but specifically like rising to take a 3 and then in midair trying to pass the ball. Again, give Phoenix credit for playing good defense there, but that's just not something you usually see Brunson doing. So, look, defending clutch player of the year, did not make the clutch plays tonight. It happens. He's not perfect. He is human. I'm not about to get on him for that. But I do think they're going through it right now a little bit. I do think they're going through it. And the fact that they still had some really good offensive stretches in this game is a testament to them. But I think that's where they lost the game. And that is with all due respect to a defense that at times tonight was not good. I am not going to fully blame their defense for the Suns' 14-0 run in the third quarter that really changed the game. Knicks had taken a 2-point lead, and then Phoenix goes on this big run. I thought that is where you really saw a lot of the mental errors, and I think you really saw probably the only time tonight, like the Phoenix, everything that they were doing to really get in the heads of the Knicks, and they were just making some boneheaded plays. I want to note after Brunson left the game, and that's a situation where, I'm pretty sure Tyler Kolek was on the floor there. He has to do better. I didn't think Kolek played a particularly good game tonight. 3 turnovers, 1 of 4 from the field. That's, a game like this, you're going to hear more conversations about the Knicks are going to be in the backup point guard market. You just are. So yeah, they had that stretch. That's where the game turned. And yeah, their defense during that stretch wasn't great. Their defense for portions of tonight was rough. I'll be kind. I also thought for the first 3 quarters and change, this Dylan Brooks and Devin Booker just deserved a ton of credit for, I mean, Dylan Brooks in the first half was unconscious. And then he came out in the second half and he started off, I think he hit a 3 within the first minute or so. So he scored 27 points on 15 shots. That's not a typical Dylan Brooks game. And then Devin Booker, only 10 of 23, did get to the line 8 times, made 7, 31 points on 23 shots. Not his most efficient, but still good. Those guys were just, that was shot making. I even thought some of the Royce threes. Royce O'Neal went 4 of 6 from deep. As a team, the Suns shot 38% from deep, which is fine. Knicks shot 39%. There's no difference there. But like those are some deep threes from O'Neal. Like, give credit to Phoenix. They hit some good shots. And made some, there was some shot making going on there, especially that back and forth in the second quarter, which was just really outstanding basketball. But yeah, there was some bad Knicks D mixed in. Not all bad, some bad mixed in. It was a mix. And then I thought in the fourth quarter, I obviously have to start by giving a shout out to Mitchell Robinson. Completely changed the complexion of the game. When he ended up pulling down 14 rebounds in 24 minutes, including 8 on the offensive glass. This was easily Mitchell Robinson's best offensive rebounding game in a while. And you know what? Frankly, like he should, because, Phoenix doesn't have a whole lot of size. I thought, they went away from Mark Williams, I thought, late. Phoenix is the one thing on defense that they are bad at. Well, they foul a lot, but that's actually part of what they want to do because they want to be physical. They're 24th in opposing offensive rebound rate. So they do give up offensive rebounds, but still you got to grab them. And Mitch did a great job. He changed the game in that specific way. The possession where they had 4 offensive rebounds on the same trip down the floor, which was pretty amazing. I think 2 or 3 of those were Mitch. But where I want to end, and I want to, again, it's a disappointing loss. It's a frustrating loss. It's not the way you want to lose the game, even with the spirited fourth quarter comeback, which, again, I'm going to get to. But I do think that there was a real positive to take away here. And the positive that I'm going to take away is, for the first time, all season, maybe, I don't know, we saw a version of the Knicks defense that looked like it could actually string together stops, and that looked like it could be sustainable. And I thought what you saw was a combination of switching when the switch was there to be had, and hard hedging by Jalen Brunson, and then like a hard hedge and recover. And I wrote this in my newsletter about Jalen Brunson's defense, which I forget if it was earlier this week or the end of last week for the Knicks Film School newsletter. I think it was earlier this week. It's been a long week. Like when you hard hedge, that's supposed to have an impact, like you're supposed to make life difficult for the ball handler. And then you're supposed to, get back to your man like your pants are on fire. And we hadn't seen Brunson do that a lot this year. And I thought he did a better job of that in the fourth quarter. I thought the other Knick defenders who were involved in those actions, specifically OG Anunoby, were really good. Whenever they had an opportunity to be good. And I thought it was the most, it was the most engaged Karl Anthony Towns has been defensively all season. And look, it's, and I was really, one of the reasons I was kind of a little bummed out to start the game with Towns was, even with all of his great passing, whatever, he wasn't getting a lot of shots. The shots he was getting, wasn't making. Passing was great. The reason I was bummed out is I thought there were 3 or 4 occasions where he kind of fell asleep on D, or he wasn't as engaged as he needed to be, and it resulted in open Phoenix looks and shots. And it reminded me of something, that Benji would talk about a lot last year, which was that when you activate Towns on defense, he just becomes a much better defender. When you play a defense where he is, by definition, being passive, which when he's in a drop, he's passive. And when like he just, you're not going to get the best, whatever the version of the best of his is, you're not getting in that style. But when you switch and you really challenge him, and you saw it on that late possession where I think he was defending Booker, I was like, I mean, it was like we hadn't seen that probably since the playoffs, honestly. And that's the best version of Towns on defense. So, and he can switch. We know he can switch. And to bring the two things together, the Mitch impact with the what they did defensively in the fourth quarter, having Cat be or guard wings as opposed to being the primary screener defender, I thought worked perfectly. And I thought the fact the double big lineup worked really, really well defensively in the fourth quarter. I thought that was a big reason, again, why they got back in the game, and they came back from 9 down. And then offensively, look, you're not going to have as much space to work with. And which is why I don't think I don't want them to start with that lineup. I don't think it's the starting lineup they should go with. And I think that's kind of a consensus opinion at this point. But it can still be effective. And I think the difference in the fourth quarter, like, look, the offense slows down and it's a little bit more of a grind, and like that's Jalen Brunson time. And so the fact that you don't have that crazy spacing, yeah, your offense isn't going to flow, but like that's not flowing offense time anyway. That's fourth quarter against the Pheonix Suns. That's nut crunching time. And so, but again, I think if you're looking for a Knick lineup, like maybe let's put it this way. Maybe that's not the starting lineup. Maybe it's a closing lineup option, or a lineup for like majority of fourth quarters or parts of fourth quarters. That's big. He had Mikal Bridges on the bench for that, which I thought was the right move. I thought to have Deuce and OG and Brunson and Cat and Mitch, I liked that alignment as they were trying to make that comeback. So, but again, bigger picture wise, I just hope, despite the loss, we maybe look back on this game as the moment where they discovered something defensively. Now, again, is Phoenix the best offense in the world? No, they're not. They're ranked. Cleaning the Glass has them 12th in the league in offense, which is good. And again, you got two really, really, really good offensive players in Dylan Brooks and Devin Booker, and you got a bunch of shooters. So there's a reason they're 12th. It's, again, you can't fake being 12th in offense, through however many games this is, almost 40 games. And the other thing is they shoot it well. Like, they're top half of the league in effective field goal percentage. So anyway, that's my hope. As far as like individual or other things to take away from this game, talked about Cat's passing at the start. That was really good. Some nice fun plays throughout the game. OG to Mitch and some other stuff. Deuce. I mean, how many post games in a row have I been shouting out Deuce McBride and singling out Deuce McBride as a guy who just, needs to be out there? It's so evident that he is a guy who, he actually, this is the first time I can remember this happening this year. Maybe there was another game. Led the team in minutes tonight. Played 39 minutes. It's funny, coming off of, I'm going to reference again X's and O's from last night. They were saying, you just got to play Deuce McBride 30 minutes a game. Well, tonight he certainly got 30 minutes. He's indispensable. He's making so many big plays. He ended that 14-0 run with an off the dribble 3. I thought that was great. Again, had that steal, had the 2-pointer to make it 109-103. Guy just he has ice water in his veins, and he's awesome. So great game from Deuce. Look, Jalen Brunson didn't come up with it down the stretch, but he had a lot of big shots. I mean, this was a borderline brilliant off, even with the turnovers. The last 2 turnovers in the last 2 minutes, but so before the last couple of minutes, let's say this was shaping up to be a brilliant offensive performance from Jalen Brunson against that defense. And it's a shame he couldn't bring it home. Cat, look, it continues to be a process, and hopefully that process has a nice endpoint. OG got it going a little bit, made a couple big threes in the fourth quarter. You like to see that. Talked about Mitch. Clarkson, I thought his defense left a little bit too much to be desired tonight. I know he made some shots. Talked about Kolek. Did they miss Yabusele tonight? I mean, who the hell knows? He's coming off a good game. So, but yeah, let's see. Maybe look, and I'll reference it a third time. DJ and Benji talked about on X's and O's how they have this more switch heavy defense in their back pocket. When are they going to break it out? Are they going to save it more to the playoffs? Maybe they don't save it anymore. Maybe it's something they want to start working on more now. I don't know, but I'm taking away a positive from the game, despite I know there's going to be a lot of upset people tonight and a lot of frustrations. But look, can't win them all. And there's losses that stick with you. There's losses that eat at you. And then there's just losses that frustrate and, annoy you. And I think this falls into that latter category, for me at least. But, to each their own. I'm sure some people will be angry and upset tonight. Okay, let's do our review of best bets, where for the first time all season, we have swept our best bets for 2 games in a row. We swept the best bets after the Clipper game, and we swept them one more time tonight. I took Jalen Brunson. Our best bets, obviously presented by FANATICS Sportsbook, and you could find them on the FANATICS Sportsbook app before every game. And if you had tailed us last night or 2 nights ago and tonight, I mean, the other one was a +5 something. This was +700. And the big reason why it was +700, I'm going to start with Mensa. Went with Mitchell Robinson, 10 or more rebounds. 14 rebounds. I went with Jalen Brunson over 2.5 threes. He cleared that easily. He doubled that 2.5 number, got 5. And then Deuce McBride for over 13 points. Jeff had that one. He had 17 points. I mean, this wasn't even close. We hit this one out. This was a Mark McGuire hitting a home run out of Fenway during, what was that home run derby in the late 90s or early 2000s? Probably the last home run derby I've watched. So +700. How you doing? Not a complete loss. Shout out to FANATICS Sportsbook. Again, check out our best bets before every game. And then, of course, on the video picks tonight, pretty sure it was Andrew, and I'm pretty sure he killed it. So there you go. I need a beverage. So, Mark, if you want to get the first super chat up. What we got here? Going with the high noons. Okay, C-Hall, what's going on, man? The lineup with Mitch, not Cat, is very 2024. Gritty. Yeah. So talking about Brunson, Deuce, Mitch, OG, and Mikal Bridges. Yeah, it's a nice look. It's a different look. And I think it was, I'll pull up the lineup data from tonight in a second. It is gritty, and like this team needs a little bit more grit sometimes. Like that's, the thing is, like, especially when Josh Hart comes back, they're going to have so much, like, even with just those 7, there are so many ways that you could run those 7 guys together, because out of those 7 guys, there's nobody you can't play together. You could play Mitch and Cat together, obviously. You could play Brunson and Deuce together. There's nobody you need to have on the floor. I think there's a great argument for when Brunson sits, play 5 of those 6 other guys. But it's really tricky to figure out which ones to play and when. Let's see. Tonight, let's see if I can find this real quick. Yeah, of course. Shout out to our friends at Pivot Fade, by the way. That's where I always get this stuff from. So, Robinson, McBride, Bridges, Anunoby, Brunson, 5.5 minutes, outscored Phoenix by 3, 19-16. But hey, look, it's not bad. Okay. This is funny. New York's top 3 most used lineups tonight all outscored the Suns by 1 point, by 1 point, and by 3 points. And then they had a couple of lineups that didn't do so well. Yeah, what are you gonna do? All right, thanks, C Hall. Norman Jean King, awful coaching. Call a timeout. I mean, the Knicks lose a game and the coaching sucks. There's some things never change. Thanks, Norman. Bill Peterfriend, this team is really off. Okay. Is it right now, or are they just exposed? The defense isn't horrible and the offense is out of sync. I actually didn't get that feeling at all tonight. That's just me, Bill. Obviously, we know there are times where I'll get up here and I'll say my spiel, and that's the thing. I don't like, I love chat Knicks, but lately I've been kind of hitting the mute on them, halftime, if not earlier, because I like to go into the post game with my own feelings, my own thoughts, just like exactly what I saw. I don't see any super chats or any comments for that matter before I start. So sometimes I'm going to be of a different opinion than everybody else. I think what you're talking about on offense, trying to find their way, trying to rediscover themselves. Yes, for sure. I think that's healthy. For where they're at right now, and especially coming off of, when they talked in the locker room amongst themselves after the Pistons game and got out whatever they need to get out. Like, I really do believe that whatever they're going through right now, I think it is healthy. I tell you what I saw against Detroit, that wasn't healthy. That was a team, I said it that night, that was a team that stopped trying and didn't give a shit. This team that I saw tonight, this team is, I thought they were trying to play together, and I thought they obviously cared. They just didn't execute well enough, Thanks, Bill. Austin Z, what's going on, man? Very annoying that Phoenix was allowed to maul the Knicks all night. I actually thought we played very good defense tonight, though. Very crisp rotations. I don't know if what percentage I would put on it. Were there very good, clean, crisp rotations on 50% of possessions, 60%, 70%. I know I came away from this game, especially in comparison to some of the games that we've seen over the last month or so. I came away from this game feeling like, okay, that's progress, both for what we saw in the fourth quarter and for what we saw throughout the game. Were there some possessions where they absolutely dropped the ball? 1,000%. But you know what? I will sign for whatever 5 to 10 or miserable defensive possessions where they just completely drop the ball if they are good on the majority of the other ones, And lately it just hasn't felt like that. Lately it has felt like anytime a team moves the ball against them, they're going to get a great shot. And it didn't feel like that tonight. Tonight it felt like there were a lot of defensive possessions where the Suns didn't get a particularly good shot. And on some of those possessions, when they didn't get a particularly good shot, Dillon Brooks or Devin Booker made a shot anyway. So, yeah, I agree with you, Austin. Haitian Ferg, what's going on? And by the way, sorry, on the Phoenix point, it's the OKC thing. This is what they do. The whole thing, you can't call everything. This is what they do. They're great at it. Give them credit for it. If it was my team, I'd be fucking thrilled. Truly. Sorry. Haitian. Book is out. Feathers get ruffled with physical play, and teams know you're soft. You can't wait until the fourth to respond to it. Where's the intensity? Ugh. Look, this has been a theme, I think, at times. Any loss the Knicks have had this year, almost every loss the Knicks have had this year, I think one of the themes has been they got punked, they got pushed around. Where's the response? And it's not that this criticism is unfair. It's not unfair. I think as I said the other night, it's not that being physical is not in their DNA. It is not, it is not a dominant trait, so to speak. Actually, that's probably a bad analogy because if I recall correctly, if something is a recessed trait, I forget what the terminology is, recessive gene or something, it's like it's not there at all. And you know what? Maybe that is appropriate because there are times when the physicality is not there at all. My point is that I do think that they have it in them. It is just not in their nature to play like that all the time. And look, the personality of this team changed a year and a half ago when DiVincenzo and Hardenstein went out and Towns and Bridges came in. That's just a fact. It's always going to be that way. And it's annoying. It's particularly annoying against teams like Phoenix and Detroit and Orlando. We have also seen this version of this Knicks team in the playoffs, against Detroit last year. I thought they dealt with the physicality okay. Like, again, we know they can. It's about doing it. And again, it's a valid complaint tonight. I don't, of the various concerns I have about this Knicks team, their inability to be physical enough with a team like Phoenix, I got to tell you, it's as of right now, it's not one of them because I think they have it in them, but time will tell. Thanks, Haitian. Next up, Mr. Fabro telling you this is looking like last season on repeat. 90% of the games after January, either a loss or a slog of a win. I mean, this was almost a great victory. I didn't, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a long night for me if I keep countering every negative super chat with like, I'm not that bothered by this loss, but I'm not that bothered by this loss. I was the one who lost my mind after the Pistons game. Okay. This is me. And I was the one who raised all the red flags and everything. I am going to choose to be hopeful that whatever that game dislodged in them to the point where they talked it out and everything, I am going to, until I have enough evidence to tell me I'm definitively wrong in this approach, I am going to choose to be hopeful that they can get things back on the right track. Tonight did not dissuade me from that they are potentially heading back in the right direction. Now they can come out in 2 nights in Portland, who is in a close game right now against the Rockets at home, I think. It's a 2-point game with 4 minutes left. Portland's another team. Portland's a tough team. I know they don't have the stats the Phoenix does. They don't have the wins the Phoenix does. They're a tough team. So if who knows? Maybe they show up in Portland and lose by 20, and I'll be singing a different tune tonight. I don't know. I'm not drawing any sweeping conclusions after tonight. Thanks, Mr. Fabro. Huber, then. What's going on? I can't complain about McCalligan, man. I'm over it. Our wings can't guard and can barely shoot right now. It wasn't a bad loss, just a hard-fought one. It's not that McCall can't guard. It's that however he guards, however he defends, for some people, and it sounds like you are one of them, Huber, it is always going to be put up against the perception of what he was brought here to do, and obviously what it cost to get him here. And he just is not a guy who is going to shut players down one-on-one. He'll make life tougher, I think. But he's not a shutdown guy. And I guess the other part that it deserves mention is, okay, if he's too slight for your big body guys, your Franzes, your Cades, your Kawhis, and if he's also not quick enough to stay with guards, when he's screened off, well, then who is he the ideal defender to guard? Which is why the idea of using him more off the ball was such a I think a bright spot early on, and it worked really well early on. And I just think his off ball impact has maybe subsided a little bit, which lends credence to your consternation. He might be tired. He might be tired. He might be going through it a little bit right now. But I don't know. I'm still high on Macau this season. He's had a good year. Hasn't been great the last month. Overall, I think he's had a good year. And I'll save that for another time. All right, thanks, Huber. Jacob Levin, what's going on, Jacob? Mike Brown looked like Tibbs yanking Diawara in the third, and then Kolek and Clarkson in the fourth. Loved it. We need accountability. Yeah, sometimes your young players are going to play like shit. Clarkson, obviously not a young player. I think he's their oldest, might be the oldest guy on the roster, actually. Kolek was bad tonight. Diawara, oh my God, maybe the most frustrating possession of the game is where Mohamed Diawara dribbled around for felt like 7 or 8 seconds, and then it did accomplish nothing. And then passed it back out, and it wasn't quite a grenade, but it was like one step up from a grenade. You can't be doing that shit, man. And then Kolek, some indecision almost between like the Knicks had, and that was super frustrating when they had some possessions where there was good ball movement to start, and then they would get like a good shot potentially, and then they would just like keep moving the ball. Like Kolek had the ball in his hands a couple times during those possessions. I did not love this game from Kolek. I'm telling you, I know this would have seemed inconceivable for me to say this 2 weeks ago. I would not be putting Tyler Kolek in pen as a rotation guy for the rest of this year, because here's the thing. You have to trust, if you're not going to make a trade for another guy, it means one of two things. One, you think, well, it means one of three things. One, it means you trust Tyler Kolek in playoff games, which I'm sorry, it's been a little bit too inconsistent for me to do that. Two, it means you think you can survive without a true backup ball handler, which, you know what? I'm still not completely willing to rule that out. The notion that the non-Brunson minutes contain Deuce and Hart and Bridges and Clarkson. Who am I forgetting? And then you do, Deuce, Hart, Bridges, Clarkson, and then probably Mitch, or maybe Towns. Actually, sorry, Towns, definitely Towns. Excuse me. So you got like 4 guys capable of handling the ball and like maybe initiating a pick and roll or something. I haven't completely ruled that out either. And then the third option is you trade for someone. Or if you don't trade for someone, those are your 3 options. Kolek, no traditional backup point guard, or you trade for someone. And I don't know. I think if there's someone available on the market, I think they're just going to make that move, which would mean Kolek would have to probably go back on the bench. But look, he's good. He'll be around for a while. He'll continue to get better. I just don't know if a team that is trying to win a title this year can trust him at this point with playoff minutes. I'm just not sure. Anyway, thanks, Jacob. Hush do. I have a feeling Hush is not going to be happy. I need a lot more minutes with that double big and no Macau lineup. Although JB couldn't buy a bucket in the fourth, the defense was great. Josh, come back soon. All right, Hush, a little positive spin. Yeah, the double big lineup is. I'm gonna lean on our X's and O's guys again. I think it's Benji that says this is when you start with the double bigs and teams are expecting it. That's one thing. When you throw it as a curveball late in the game, and I think it has a different impact. And I thought it had that impact tonight. And look, Mike Brown clearly values the double big lineup. That was his ideal starting lineup in camp. So it's not that he sees the benefits of it. It's just a matter of when are you going to deploy it. The home run derby I referenced earlier, by the way, was the 1999 home run derby. Thank you, Mr. Katz. Quote from Mike Brown. Our guys fought in the fourth. Holding them to 18 was great. But when you have 18 turnovers for 22 points compared to 10 for 11 on the road, it's tough to overcome. We have to do this for 48 and not wait till the last quarter to turn it on defensively. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with him. I'd probably think a little bit higher of the defense over the first three quarters, but I'm not gonna push back. Thanks, Hush. I think we had another one from Hush. John, why is Mikal so soft, man? I don't get it. I don't think soft is the word. I don't know. Maybe it is the word. No, I don't. I think that's unfair. He's not Dylan Brooks. He's not one of these guys that's going to mix it up. But to me, soft is like when you call someone soft, that's like a defining characteristic. And we've had soft players over the years. After what Mikal did in the playoffs last year in particular, I can't call that dude soft. Is he as tough as we maybe like him to be? Probably not, but I can't call him soft. Thanks, Hush. Hakeem the Dream. What's going on, Hakeem? When are we going to realize that Brunson can't be the number one option on a championship team? Oh, we're going here tonight. Okay. 5'11", Jesus Christ. Chubby, unathletic, huge defensive liability. Can't be your number one player. The jig is up. I think you meant to write jig. Maybe you meant to write the gig is up. If the gig is up, I'm not sure what that would mean. But if the jig is up. Look. One, Jalen Brunson's a guy who his limitations are what they are. They're never going to go away. As with every player in the NBA who, outside of like 2 or 3 guys in the league, as with everybody with limitations, you ask yourself, are the strengths enough to make the limitations worthwhile? And well, I acknowledge that a 6'2" point guard has not led a team to a championship since Isaiah Thomas, and Isaiah Thomas was, a really good defender. Actually, that's a lie. Steph Curry. Steph Curry is listed at 6'2", but he's a better defender, or was at least certainly a better defender than Brunson. Also, one of the 5 greatest offensive players in the history of the sport. Look, I acknowledge NBA history says what it says. Here's why I'm ultimately going to push back on this, Hakeem. Number one, Jalen Brunson was the biggest godsend to this franchise since the Ewing lottery. And if they did not get him, guess what? They'd still be floundering about in the middle of the ocean without a life preserver. Because, with all due respect to all the talented, wonderful people that were here when they signed Jalen Brunson, that team wasn't doing shit with shit. Jalen Brunson saved the franchise. Is he your perfect leading man? No, he's not your perfect leading man. He's 6, whatever he is, listed at 6'2". He probably is closer to 5'11". But save the franchise. And more importantly than what he does on the court, and I mean this, more importantly than what he does on the court, he's about all of the right things. Like, we talk about his lack of, maybe traditional point guard skills. He's not a great passer, has trouble getting Towns involved, all that stuff. It's not for lack of caring, and it's not for lack of trying. He is who he is as a player. I think he's constantly trying to figure out ways to get better and improve while still being him. He is one of the best leaders in the sport. And all the dude wants is to win. Accountability, like everything you want from a leader. you have in Jalen Brunson. I understand it's a frustrating loss. I understand it's been a frustrating couple of weeks. There's all kinds of things we could question on any given night. You will not see me sit here and question whether this franchise erred by putting all of its eggs in the Jalen Brunson basket. So, sorry. Jacob Levin, what's going on, Jacob? Again, refs rarely decide a game, but they infuriated me. And then I think we got another one from Jacob here. Our best team defense since Hart's injury, without question. What we saw in the fourth quarter was real. I mean, I thought they defended actually well against the Clippers in the fourth quarter. I'll give them that. Not as good as tonight. Tonight was like the first time. Tonight was like eyebrow raising. Tonight, you took notice of that defense in the fourth quarter. So that's why I was like, I bummed out about the loss, tough loss, a lot of annoying things, yada yada yada. I'm finding it. The more I talk, the more I'm finding it harder to be too down about this game. As far as the refs, did they lose control a little bit there? Sure. What you never want to have a game where you don't know what is a foul. And by the way, when you have Mike Breen calling you out, when you have Mike Breen saying the refs messed up and doing it as demonstratively as Breen did it on, I think it was I forget who it was that got like fouled 2 or 3 times and then pushed back and then the foul went on them. It doesn't matter. But when you have Breen saying that, you fucked up. All right. Mark, we can do stat of the game whenever you want. Put it on the super chat or whatever is easiest. Thanks, Jacob. Oh, here we go. Okay. So our stat of the game tonight. So we have a little discrepancy. Jonah Kaufman has the turnover total at 17 turnovers. I wonder if they changed it. No, it's 18. So Jonah must be keeping his own scorecard here. In any case, so they had 18, but this was the 8th time this season the Knicks committed at least 17 turnovers. Guess what? They're 2-6 in those games. There's a shocker. Suns obviously fewer turnovers, and the Knicks turnover differential between the turnovers the Knicks had and the turnovers that the Suns had, it was their highest of the season. So 8 turnover differential. It's only the 3rd time all season that the Knicks have lost the turnover differential by at least 5. So again, look, do you want to draw a through line between the Suns' physicality and maybe the refereeing and all the turnovers? I think it's fair. I am going to not. This is a reason why it's tough for me to go too crazy about this game, because this is a undisputed or unequivocal strength of the Knicks. And obviously, it was just not a strength tonight. So, yeah. Oh, wait. Mark is saying he's seeing 17 on NBA.com. Interesting. So, NBA.com has it 17. ESPN has it at 18. Pretty sure Mike Brown said it was 18. So, I don't know. Maybe NBA, someone's wrong. I don't know who. All right. Next up. John Leary trailing a majority of the game, playing behind a theme. Yeah, it is a theme, and I think it's because of the starts they're getting off to. I thought the Pistons game, obviously they got boat raced out of the gate. I did not like how they started the game against the Clippers. I did not like how they defended. I did not like their intensity. Thought their offense was pretty good out of the gate, but they weren't hitting shots. Tonight, I thought the defense out of the gate was okay. And I thought the ball movement was okay. And they weren't hitting shots out of the gate. And Phoenix was. So they were, they got down by 5 or 7. And it's like they were down by like between 5 and 7 points. It felt like the entirety of the game. And it's just tough to play from behind on the road against a team like that. It has absolutely been a theme. I think it's a byproduct of whatever they're going through at the moment. But I am still feeling positive about emerging from the other side of whatever this is. I am hopeful. I continue to be hopeful, even though I acknowledge that something is still going on. Thanks, John. Riyadh, what's going on, Riyadh? I like that we fought despite the physicality and uneven refereeing. However, the book is out on how to stop this offense. So look, they took 41 threes tonight and they hit 39%. So if you could take over 43s and you could shoot close to 40% on threes, then that's a good sign. I don't think the book is out on how to stop Jalen Brunson at all because he continues to be really good. Where they continue, all right, hold on. Now Mark's telling me he's seeing 17 on ESPN too. I'm gonna take a damn screenshot. Hold on here, because now everybody's gonna think I'm nuts. Hold on, watch. I'm gonna upload this. I'm gonna show all of you. Image file. Here we go. We're not screwing around here. Sorry, we're gonna get back to this point in a second because it's a good one. All right, ready? Look at the bottom of your screen there. You got to get the super chat off because I blocked it. Where is it? Oh, we got to get the ticker off too because I didn't see that. Total turnovers 18. I'm not crazy, Mark. I think I'm a crazy man here. All right, we're done here.
All right, wait.
Wait, hold on. I can't hear you. I got to get my headphones on. What's up?
I said, wait, hold on, because I want to show my screenshot now.
Show your screenshot.
Okay, hold up.
So your screenshot.
Oh, that's yours. Sorry.
That's mine. And now you're.
Here we go.
Oh, but this is player turnovers. This is turnovers that are attributed to players. Sometimes there are team turnovers.
Okay. Apologies.
No, I just read the numbers, and my number says 18.
Understand. All right.
All right. We're gonna onwards we go. All right, Riyadh, back to you. What's the problem? What's the problem with the offense? I think when they're not generating threes, they're having trouble generating good shots, and it's something that I feel like I've been tracking I've been not tracking. I've been cognizant of for a little while now. Their 2-point shooting numbers are just not good enough. Like tonight, they shot on twos. Do some quick napkin math. 21 of 41. So they were slightly above 50% on twos, which is not terrible, but like, I don't know. It's not bad against this team. Like, look, Phoenix is good defense. And like, yeah, you want to tell me the book is out on be physical with the Knicks? Well, Phoenix does this to a lot of teams, a lot of good offenses too. I think the Knicks have it in them to execute a lot better than they did tonight and a lot better than they have been doing. I don't think the teams have found some magic formula. Like Detroit was physical with them the whole fucking series last year. You know, Indiana even tried to get physical with them. Like that's the thing, is some teams could do it, some teams can't. Even Boston couldn't. You know, Boston just switches everything. I think they have it in them to overcome this when they are playing well. I just think they're not playing that well right now. You know, and they got to play better. Thanks, Riyadh. Dan Hidalgo, what's going on, Dan? I'm not complaining about Mike Brown utilizing the bench, but it might be good to get more consistency. Lots of different lineups has the offense searching. Might be part of it. I think he's trying to toe this line between preserving guys and you know, and winning games. and putting his best foot forward. I mean, yeah, look, tonight the minutes, McBride 39, OG 38, Brunson 37, Bridges 33, and Towns 33. And the only reason Bridges played 33 is I think he was not as effective as you would have maybe wanted him to be. I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you, Dan. I'm not, because I felt the same thing. I'm just trying to put myself in Brown's shoes and look at what he's looking at. And I think there is a part of him that is still searching a little bit. Now, look, there were a lot of things I praised Tom Thibodeau about over the years. One of the things I praised him about that was the fact that he was he stuck with things, and that's something that pissed a lot of people off in different contexts. But the one thing I think that, generally speaking, NBA teams and players is they know what their role is going to be, and they know who they're generally going to play with. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that Towns-led backup unit last year with Campaign and Shamet when he was healthy, and oh my God, I'm forgetting who was on the team last year. The backups. I don't think that, and Deuce. I don't think it was a coincidence that unit freaking killed and was really, really good, because they played together all the time. I think they got a nice comfort level together, and I don't know that is happening right now with this group. So, still time. Hopefully the experimentation pays off. But right now, is it contributing to some of their struggles? Maybe. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, but then again, we weren't. How much were we complaining about it when they were, put up million points, and Diawara was scoring, and McCullough was scoring, and Kolek was scoring. So that's why it's like I don't know. I always worry about conflating issues and attributing, blame on something that's not necessarily the thing that's going wrong. Anyway, thanks, Dan. Haitian Ferg again. Thank you so much, Haitian. The league is adjusted to the offense. It is on the coach to make changes, or is it on the coach to make changes? Or can the current roster sacrifice enough to be what each other needs to win? I really don't think any defense could stop this offense. When this offense is humming and they're playing as well as they are capable of playing, I think, and yes, look, the elephant in the room, as usual, is Karl-Anthony Towns. We saw Towns get going a little bit tonight. We have not seen Karl-Anthony Towns be Karl-Anthony Towns in, there's been a handful of games this year when Cat has been Cat. So, what does it look like when he gets going? That's the thing I keep coming back to. What does it look like when Cat gets going? I refuse to believe that they cannot, a big stretch is not coming for him. And I do think, again, to borrow from Benji and DJ last night on X's and O's, I do think a large part of it is he just needs to start hitting shots. And look, an offense isn't going to look as good when they're not hitting shots. I just, the notion that the league has figured them out, I don't see it. I thought the Knicks got good shots tonight. I thought their offensive process at times was really good. Against, especially considering this defense, but look, we'll see. You might be right. I'm still optimistic on the offense. My biggest thing was the same thing it was last year, is Brunson and Towns together. Can the whole of those two be greater than the sum of the parts? And that's a lofty challenge, because the parts are really good. But that's the biggest thing I'm looking for. Thanks, Haitian. Nicole Dean Julia with another one. Last 12 games allowing fixed 15 or 16 threes a game. Fix. Turnovers tonight. Ugh. You're saying they're allowing fewer threes? Yeah, look, my big thing always is take something away. Whether you're taking away the threes or you're taking away the paint, take something away. And the thing that's been bad about the defense is they haven't been taking anything away. You know, tonight, Phoenix got, I thought, some, you know, they got off a decent amount of threes, 42 in total. But I would argue the Knicks did a better job tonight in the paint. Phoenix tonight had 38 points in the paint. That's fine. That's fine. You live with that. So, yeah. Thanks, Nicole, Dean, Julia. Gabe Bain. What's going on, Gabe? Phoenix is the new OKC and how they're officiated. It's a great comp. It's a great comp. Would love for Brown to fight for his own damn team. The Knicks didn't help themselves, but the worst whistle of the season. I mean, you want him to yell and scream and get a tech, I guess? Okay. Doesn't seem like it's his personality. I mean, Tibbs never got a tech. Right? There was the article from Fred or James, I forget, last year, talking about how Tom Thibodeau had like never gotten a tech as a Knicks head coach. But he yelled and screamed, obviously. Brown, I don't know. Maybe it's not his personality. I don't know. But if you want to see that, sure. You know, I'm all for that. I'm not holding my breath for it, though. I'll tell you that much. Thanks, Gabe. Jason M. What's going on, Jason? Disgusted with the offense. Oh, of course. Jason always has his take. When they move the ball with intention, they get great looks, yet too often the play slows down and they just stand around. Yeah. You know, Mike Brown has talked about that. Pace, getting the ball up, moving, you know, getting off the ball quickly. I would not say I was disgusted by the offense tonight, other than the turnovers and the silliness and the carelessness. That stuff, that was annoying. I didn't like that. I don't know. I didn't think there was a ton of standing around tonight, but I'm sure if I rewatch the game, I might see something differently. Another one from Jason here. Knicks haven't outworked the team since the Cup final. Well, that's very true. That's very true. They have not outworked anyone. Which, I don't know, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because if you're going to peg this stretch on, again, just them being a little drained, you could do that. You could do that. But it's absolutely, it's a fact. 100%. Thanks, Jason. Oscar, what's going on, man? 9 turnovers from your 2 stars is just not going to cut it. Yeah, no, Towns had 5 and Brunson had 4. Look, Towns, we haven't talked about him a lot. I'm actually happy he's kind of getting a pass tonight because he's been taking it on the chin. You got to be better, you know. And Brunson, he had 2 in the last minute. That's not good enough. Another one from Oscar. Same one. Okay, thanks, Oscar. Bill Peterfriend with another one. Last 3 minutes, the defense was unable to get a stop, and the offense couldn't keep up. Can't praise the defense in full in the fourth. The champions close this out. That isn't them right now. The team is supposed to be past positives in a loss. I mean, yeah, they're supposed to be, but they're not. They're not. Look, the notion that they elevated, and look, they probably gave us a false sense of security that they did elevate above this sort of thing. They're human, they're mortal, they're going through it, you know. I don't know. I always saw this team for what this is the season that I anticipated having, which is probably why. No, I did not anticipate having to watch a night like we did the other night against the Pistons. That's why I lost my shit. But like coming into the year, I think what did I pick him? 51, 52 wins. I did a few weekly wager shows with Sean, where he kept putting up the when they were rolling, and he kept putting up the odds for the Knicks to win 60 games, and I kept like kind of laughing because I'm like, this team's not a 60-win team. Like, we've seen 60-win teams in our life. This is not a 60-win team. They're figuring it out. They're going through it a little bit right now. They're not a championship quality team right now. I don't think anybody who's watched them but did it, like, when were they a championship quality team this year? When did we watch them and be like, oh, this is a championship, like, full on, this is a championship quality team? They played really well at times this year. They won a hell of a lot of games earlier in the year. Obviously, they won the cup final and, you know, some other big wins before that. I don't feel like I've seen it yet this year. I've been optimistic. I've liked what I've seen, but, you know, I think I don't want to look. I'm not in the business of telling people what their expectations should be, especially when fucking owner gets on the radio and talks about we got to make the finals. But I just think this is what they are, you know, and you hope they peak at the right time. You hope they're healthy at the right time, and you hope that they figure out the different things that they have to figure out in the right time. Thanks, Bill. Hush with another one. When February comes around, do you take calls on Mr. 5P? Who's that? I don't know. Is that Cat? I don't know who that's supposed to be. Look, this core, the core is the core. No one from the core is going anywhere. You know, if they make a trade, it's going to be a lower level trade to try to shore things up around the edges. But that's it. Thanks, Hush. Hush with another one. That loose ball play where you barely give any effort is where it breaks me as a fan. The playoffs was good, but I question this guy every night. Oh, I think he's talking about Mikal. Okay. Yeah. No. Like, Mikal Bridges is here. He's not going anywhere. He shouldn't be going anywhere. He's a exceptional role player in the league, but he's a role player for a reason. He's not a star. You know? He's part of the solution, or at least he better be. Yeah. Look, I don't know why Mikal's been catching a lot of shit lately. Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I thought he maybe earned a little grace with how he started the year, because he was just pretty perfect for like 2 months, and I guess that didn't buy him very much goodwill. And it's funny to hear you. Another one from Hush. We got rid of the wrong Nova player. Okay, I'm done. Mikal's imperfect. Mikal's frustrated the hell out of me last year. That's for damn sure. But when you say you question him every night, again, we watched 2 months of basketball, almost 2 months of basketball with this team, where he was like the one thing that I never had to question. You know, again, he's going through a stretch right now where it's not great, but yeah, I gotta tell you, like, and again, it's not just you. It's a lot of people are hating on Mikal Bridges, so maybe I'm the asshole. But there's like really no part of me that doesn't believe this guy is part of the solution. If the Knicks are whatever the Knicks are trying to do, like, I have concerns with this team. I have concerns with the roster. I have concerns with how certain guys are with each other and some locker room stuff and whatever. Like, Mikal Bridges is not really very high on any of those lists. Like, the biggest thing with Bridges that annoys me is he doesn't seek contact more on offense when he has the ball. He's not more aggressive in trying to seek fouls. But, you know, it's one of those things. Thanks, Hush. True Genius. I keep hearing this BS narrative about Mikal being selfish with his lack of physicality. I think it's super unselfish of him to ensure his availability. Okay, that's a different take. I don't look. The fact that he plays every night is probably the most underrated skill in the NBA, or the most underrated quality of of any Nick. Certainly, I don't. Again, I would like him to seek more contact. 100%, I would like him to seek more contact, but I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't equate that with his like Iron Man streak or anything. And if you do equate those two things, that like he avoids contact because he's not trying to get fouled and hurt and miss games, that's I don't know. I guess that'd be an interesting conversation to have. I don't think it's in his nature. And I think it needs to be more in his nature. Anyway, thanks, True Genius. All right, finishing up here. Jeff, my man, my compatriot in arms. Can't say the Knicks can't handle physicality when the refs let the Suns play UFC hoops. They kept their composure overall and battled well. Maybe call refs bluff on defense. Now, that's an idea. That's an idea and a good one. Yeah. Look, it was not a great ref game tonight. It was not even a good refereed game. Still could have won. Still maybe should have won. What are you going to do? Thanks, Jeff. How equals peace? You don't go from Tibbs to Brown. All right, we got the Brown we got the Brown detractors coming out of the woodwork. I mean, look, I called it. What was it? 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? I said, look, there's going to be a stretch where you're going to get people questioning Mike Brown. Happens. Every fan base does this. Every fan base. And Andrew and other people here get annoyed whenever I bring it up. But it's just the nature of fandom. You lose games, guess what? Coach isn't doing his job. These guys all do phenomenal jobs. They truly do. But, there's coaches on both sides. Emil B, what's going on? Anyone know what PJ Tucker's doing? The team has way too many guys I'd let date my sister. 0 dogs. Well, maybe you'll get Jose Alvarado. How about that? Would you want Jose Alvarado to date your sister? Thanks, Emil. And then Joseph finishes us up, I think. No, we got more after this? Okay. Charles Smith was soft. McCall is McCall. Okay. I'll take that. It's fine. Thanks, Joseph. And then I think this is the last one from Walter White. Considering our road record, the Knicks just played a tough game against a top 10 defense. And our defense pretty well against the 3. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm already, like, to the extent that I was annoyed that they lost the game and they couldn't pull it out when I started this post game. What are we going? Hour and 14 minutes. I'm already over it. I'm ready to move on to Portland. Let's finish this road trip with 3 wins. They're certainly capable of winning the rest of these games. I'm feeling pretty good about the team. I'm feeling pretty good about the team, despite the loss and despite all the things that they did wrong tonight, which were very real. But all is not. I think that things are on the mend, shall we say. Okay. I think that's it. We're done. All right. What are we? Almost 1 a.m. That's not that bad. These West Coast games will kill you. Thanks, Mark, for staying up late on the 1s and 2s and doing everything you did tonight. Thanks, everybody, for watching, obviously, until the wee hours. If you dig the show and you want to help us out, you know how to do it by following us on social media at Knicks Film School. That's SKOOL. We got a new X's and O's pod that I've referenced 18 times tonight. Go listen to that. And if you dig that and you dig what we do here, subscribe on wherever you get your pods, and turn on your alerts on YouTube. And then last but not least, bonus content. Benji had another banger of a grade book on she actually did it combined the Detroit and the Clipper game. And he went really, really deep on Towns and where he drives from, whether he's driving with his offhand or his strong hand, really does make all the difference for him, with some great film and data to back it up. So that's one of a lot of things available on our Patreon, where I am going to be recording a mailbag pod. I'm probably this weekend. So current patrons, be on the lookout for that. And then my newsletter on Substack, Knicks Film School newsletter, which I'm about to go bang one out for this game. But I think that's it. Okay. I will see everybody on Sunday night after the Portland game. And I hope everybody has a good weekend. That's great. Peace out.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the FANATICS Sportsbook app.